Nick Taylor, Prose A. Memoirs are inexact things, messy around the edges, and distorted by the twists and turns of memories. Sometimes details get lost or hazy and confusing. I've been in the middle of telling a story myself only to realize, oh hell, this didn't happen to me. This is a Steven Seagal plot. When I was born, I was ugly. Babies are all ugly, really. I mean, you were ugly, I'm sure of it. How could you not have been? Leaving behind the vag aquarium floating bliss of yesterday, popping into the world covered in gel and matter. Wrinkles, blood, and poop. Now I imagine my first moments went like this. Your son! Wah! Wah! And my mother, waiting for my first cry. My mother never heard my first cry. She's deaf. Author Jared Kintz once said, I remember I laughed so hard, I cried. But my response is only half appropriate because I was at a funeral. Comedians for decades have stressed the importance of laughter in the face of adversity. Moshe Kasher uses his humor to get through the troubles and tribulations of life. This includes being the only white kid in an all-black school, getting kicked out of therapy, and having a deaf mother. Kasher and the Rye, by Moshe Kasher. According to my mother, I was born out of control. A feral kid. Well, I don't know what's wrong with him either. My first therapy session was at age 4. Subject: Moshe Kasher. Boy seems to have acute aggression issues and takes immediately to swords. Note: he is good with the nerve sword. Must protect groin. Pain. Only pain. Turns out I was beyond help. Kicked out of therapy at age 4. Too angry. I wasn't angry. I should have killed him for saying that. I grew up in Oakland, which was a weird place to grow up in the 80s if you were white, but when you have a deaf parent, you're sort of treated like royalty. My mother's voice humiliated me. I hated everyone who heard it, even the lady at Taco Bell, and I love Taco Bell. My mother used to bribe me with it not to get in fights at school. You see, middle school is horrible for everybody, but when we're always angry, therapist words, not mine, it is harder. I would get in fights all the time, and lose all the time. However, on the rare instances when I would behave, the zesty beef promise went like this. Welcome to Taco Bell, can I take your order? I'd step forward to order for both of us, but my mother's a proud woman, and would have none of it, and would step up to order in her deaf voice. Deaf voice is in fact speech. For me, after years of training, I could understand it. Problem though, when deaf voice meets hearing, the hearing ear gets afraid that chimpanzees are attacking it. It cannot distinguish the words. Every word sounds to them like, roar! So, as it went, look at Taco Bell, can I take your order? Roar! Sorry, what? The poor minimum wager looks scared. Roar! At this point, she just guessed. And my mother grabbed a handful of bills from her purse and pushed them on the counter. Mrs. Taco Bell looked down, her face scrunched with confusion. I'm sorry, we don't take food stamps here. You know what? Just take it. It's on me. See, like I said, royalty. My mother, though, knew, as I said from day one, that I was a bit out of control. And if you have a middle school kid, you know that it's potentially the worst. I, however, have been looking forward to middle school for a long time. A strange thing when you consider that middle school is one of the most horrible environments on Earth. In terms of torturous social environments, the order goes 1, Holocaust, 2, Siberian Gulag, and 3, middle school. On bad days, when things were bad at home, or I was a little too white, I became the one that my classmates would hurl insults at, like honky, or cracker, or white bread, or white chicken bread. I tried calling the kid the N-word once. Once! Fighting with a kid named Darrell, who was in the 8th grade for the 3rd time. I'm pretty sure that kid was left behind. He began rapid-fire machine gun assaulting me with the names of, "You honky cracker saltine eating force punk!" And so I got mad. A man's not perfect, especially when he's a boy, So I went into my non-existent Confederate roots and yelled it. All activity stopped. Darrell's face fell. He looked more sad than mad. "You can't say that, dog. You'll get killed." Seemed as if he was warning me more than threatening me. "But what about all that white bread chicken stuff?" "That's different." Darrell swelled with compassion. "You're white." Then he punched me in the stomach. "I guess that's true." So that was the first and the last time I used that word. That's when I realized how important words were, even when it came to my mother. She may not have been able to speak words that most could hear, but I could. I could hear her. Her love for me never failed. She would remind me that I'm not all bad. Bad. The way I felt countless times before as I sat wondering what I'd become. Maybe I'm not broken. Maybe I'm not such a bad kid after all. When I was young, I remember reading books like Catcher in the Rye and The Basketball Diaries and thinking secretly to myself, look, here are people as broken as me. It gave me hope. So I suppose I'd like to say to those listening that can relate that you'll be okay too. And hell, maybe one day you'll even write a book about it.